这个故事如果你听起来不累，那么你的听力水平在生活中是完全够用的。要持续提升英文，记得点击订阅按钮。我们开始吧。
His fingers were about to give up, and no one was there to see it. He hung from a thin rope above a deep, black pit, the kind of dark that seemed to swallow sound. His arms shook so hard that even his bones felt tired. The rope burned his hands, and the skin had already started to break. Still, he did not let go. In his head, one line kept coming back, quiet but steady, hang in there. Those words did not start with him. They had been passed from one tired person to another for many years, moving through time like a small flame that refused to die. No one knows the exact first time it was said, but it grew in places where life felt heavy. Small rooms, long roads, cold mornings, empty pockets. That was where it lived. In the early days of crowded cities, men and women worked long hours with little rest. Hands cracked, backs bent, eyes dull from lack of sleep. There were no big speeches to lift them up. No perfect plans. Just short, simple words shared between people who understood pain without asking questions. One worker would see another slow down, breathing hard, ready to stop. He would nod and say it in a low voice, "Hang in there." Not loud. Not proud. Just real. It was never about fixing everything. It was about surviving the next hour. The phrase stayed because it asked for so little. It did not promise success. It did not say things would be easy. It only said one thing: do not let go yet. That small idea was enough to carry people through long nights and harder days. Years passed, and the world changed. New buildings rose, new jobs appeared, and new problems came with them. But the phrase did not leave. It moved quietly into homes, schools, hospitals, and streets. It became part of daily life, like a soft tool people used when nothing else worked. Then something strange happened. In the 1970s, a simple photo began to spread. A small cat, hanging from a tree branch, its tiny paws holding tight. Its eyes were wide, almost scared, but still full of fight. Under the image were the words, "Hang in there." People laughed when they first saw it. It looked cute, almost silly. A cat in trouble, frozen in a moment that felt both funny and serious. But the more they looked, the more it stayed with them. That cat was not just a cat. It was a symbol. It was every person who had ever felt close to falling. The poster showed up everywhere. Offices, classrooms, bedrooms, even factory walls. Some people bought it as a joke. Others kept it because it felt true. It said something honest without using big words. Life is hard. You might slip, but you can still hold on. Back to the man above the pit. His strength was fading fast. His fingers slipped a little more with each breath. He tried not to look down, but his mind still painted the picture. Endless dark. No bottom in sight. The kind of fall you do not come back from. He closed his eyes for a second, just a second. And in that moment, memories came rushing in. A teacher handing back a test, marked with a low score, saying softly, "Hang in there." A friend sitting next to him after a breakup, offering no long talk, just that same line. A stranger at a bus stop, after hearing he lost his job, giving a small nod and saying it like it mattered. Each time, the words felt small. Almost too simple. But each time, they gave him one more step forward. Now, all those steps stood behind him. His hand moved up the rope, slow and shaking. Then the other followed. Pain shot through his arms, sharp and clear, but he did not stop. A small rock broke loose under his foot and fell. He heard it hit something far below after a long delay. That sound told him the truth. There was no second chance if he fell. Hang in there. This time, the words felt different. Not something said by others, but something rising from inside him. A quiet voice that did not care about fear. A voice that only cared about one thing: keep going. He found a small edge in the rock wall and pressed his foot against it. It was not strong, but it helped. He pushed up, just a little. His arms screamed. His breath came fast and loud. Sweat mixed with blood on his hands. Still, he moved. People often wait for big moments to change their lives. A huge win. A clear sign. A loud moment where everything turns around. But most real change happens in silence, in places where no one is watching. It happens when you decide not to quit. The man reached a narrow ledge. It was barely enough to stand on, but it gave him a break. He leaned his body against the cold rock, his chest rising and falling fast. His eyes closed again, but this time not from fear. This time, from focus. He was not safe yet. Above him, the edge of the pit was still far away. Light came down in a thin line, like a promise that did not speak. He knew the climb was not over. Not even close. Hang in there. The words came again, softer now, almost kind. He thought about all the people in the world holding their own ropes. A student staring at books late at night, fighting sleep. A worker staying in a job that drains every bit of energy. A parent trying to stay strong for a child. A person sitting alone in a quiet room, dealing with thoughts no one else can see. Different lives. Same feeling. Tired hands. Heavy heart. Slow time. He opened his eyes and looked up. Then he moved again. One hand. Then the other. A pause. Then a push. He slipped once. His body dropped a short distance, and his heart jumped hard in his chest. For a moment, it felt like the end. But his grip held. Barely, but it held. Hang in there. He did not rush after that. He moved with care, feeling each part of the rope, each small place to rest. Time stretched. Minutes felt like hours. But he did not count time anymore. He only counted movement. Up. 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 At last, his hand reached the edge. Solid ground. Real and strong. He pulled himself over, his body falling onto the surface with a heavy sound. He stayed there, flat on his back, staring at the sky. No cheers. No crowd. No music. Just quiet. But inside him, something had changed in a deep way. Not loud, not bright, but strong. He had faced the moment where giving up felt easy, and he chose not to. That is what hang in there really means. It is not a magic line. It will not solve your problems. It will not remove pain or fear. What it does is much smaller and much more powerful. It keeps you in the fight. It gives you one more second when you need it most. And sometimes, 1 second is all you need to turn falling into climbing. Right now, somewhere, someone is close to letting go. Maybe it does not look like a rope. Maybe it looks like a desk, a phone screen, a hospital bed, or a quiet corner of a room. But the feeling is the same. If that someone is you, then you already understand. Hang in there. Not forever. Not perfectly. Just long enough to take one more step. Because that step can lead to another. And another. Until one day, without even noticing when it happened, you find yourself on solid ground again.
能以非母语者的身份专注学习到现在，这本身就是很棒的进步。真诚感谢你的观看。如果你觉得本期内容实用，点赞或留言让我知道你的想法，这对我持续创作非常重要。我们下期见。